have to do in that corner in that minute to get us through the next round, to get us through the fight. If somebody doesn't like the way we talk to the fighter, or that we don't talk to the fighter, really, they don't pay our bills. They don't, so we have to do what we have to do with that particular fighter. Though it's different with every fighter. Let's just say with Robert and Mikey and Brandon, he treats Mikey and Brandon in a different way. You talk to them differently. With Freddie and Manny and Cotto, it's so different, each individual.
So what do you think, like, the key is between you and Gennady?
From the first time I met him, our approach to what we wanted to do was similar. I'm not going to say the same because it's become the same, but it was similar, and he understood that I like to work hard, and I expect him to work hard, and if he's not going to work hard, then we can't be together. But because of that, he never questions anything. He does exactly what he's told. He is probably the easiest fighter I've ever worked with, as far as that's concerned, and probably the most talented I've ever worked with. But I think that his upbringing and his culture, he is going to listen to the guy that's above. In this case, I'm the guy that's above him. I'm the teacher, and he's going to do exactly like he's told. So it's easy.
So you've also said that with every fighter, you try and work with every fight like on two things, one or two things that's going to be new that you're going to work on.
No, every training camp that we get to, every fight that we get to, every training camp, I always add a couple things at the beginning of training camp. I explain to them what I'm going to be doing in this training camp, regardless of what we've done in the past, regardless of who we're fighting, regardless of where it's at. Two things, just that every time that he fights, he's improving on a couple things, or he's working specifically on a couple things. We know he can do the rest of it, but let's just add a couple wrinkles to it.
What would you say, maybe one sort of thing that you're working on?
Well, I'm going to tell you, because we thought we were going to fight Chavez, the two things that we implemented for this camp were in regards to fighting Chavez and Chavez's left hook. But we may fight Chavez in the future, so we'll leave that as something that is between us and myself and Gennady.
So what has been an adjustment then for Gio? Have there been any adjustments?
Nothing. I've always been the type of coach that I never adjust to a fighter. They're going to have to adjust to us. They're going to have to adjust to Gennady. Gennady's going to go be Gennady, and if they can deal with Gennady, well, then they're better than I have work to do.
Well, then with the question of 12 rounds, then, because this 12-round thing is that's
the only thing that's caused me some restless nights at the beginning of camp, knowing that Gio has gone 12 rounds and is used to going 12 rounds, and we've never gone past the 10. So it's a matter of making sure that we're prepared, but not over-prepared. I mean, I don't want that to be an issue in my mind where I think I got to work him harder because he has to go 12. I don't think the fight will go 12, but we're prepared to go 12.
It sounds like that's a really fine line,
Gio's obviously a good opponent, but is there some level of frustration that the Chavez fight didn't happen? You're fighting sort of like a middling guy?
No, not really, because if you think about it, September the 1st, 2012 was the first fight that he had on HBO. That's really when he broke out to the American audience. How long did it take Floyd to get to this level here, or to be at the quota, had 7,200 the first time at the Garden? I think the projections are we're going to have a lot more than that. So it's frustrating, maybe to management and maybe to Tom, but to me it's not. It's one fight at a time. I just hope that the next fight after this one is a step up and not on the same level.
But every fight he has now, like you just sort of alluded to, every fight he has now, he's going to get a little bit better. So he'll be more ready when the big fight happens.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. That's the whole idea. As a coach, that's the whole idea. You want to prepare him for that eventual. Let's talk Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner, when he fought Maidana, he wasn't ready for the Maidana level. And it wasn't so much because of the fights, it's just because in training camp he became a star. After Perez, he became a star. He was maybe he stopped working in the gym, and that's where we as coaches. But you have to have the student too. You have to have the athlete that wants to be subservient. Let's just say to allow you to be the coach. If he allows you to be the coach, and it's quite easy to mold them and to improve them. Terry Norris was that way too.
Gio's past fights, when you've watched them on tape, what's impressed you the most? What particular fight?
His activity. He's non-stop. His activity. He throws punches for 12 rounds, and he's in great condition. Doesn't punch that hard, but you don't have to punch hard when you're landing combinations. It's easy to knock somebody down that way too. So that, like I said a little while ago, that's what caused me restless nights at the beginning of camp. Just trying to get around that fact that we're going to have to go 12 rounds if we had to.
Did you see the Stern fight? Did you see the Mundine fight?
No, he went to Germany and beat 2 Germans in Germany. That's an accomplishment. Again, because he's able to go 12 rounds, he's going to outwork everybody that he fights. So that's something that we have to be cognizant of.
Is this something that Gennady always says, that he's prepared to go to 12 rounds, or is this something?
Well, we train every coach. I don't care who it is. If you have a 12-round fighter, a guy that fights championship fights, we're prepared to go 12 rounds. Now, the pace of the fight will determine how well we do in those 12 rounds. If Abel is going to force you to be 100% and be able to go 12 just like you did at the beginning of the fight. So we're going to find out. We don't know.
Abel,
You said in your last press conference that you were a Californian. What did you mean? Are you surprised by that, or what do you mean exactly by that?
No, just my training camp in California in Big Bear Lake, just I love California. It's my second home. I'm every time staying in California. And my fight time in New York City. A little bit different situation for me, a little bit different atmosphere for me. I understand my training camp just California. My fight just New York. I love it both.
So do you want to change that though? Do you want to have a big fight?
I go into New York, just my mentality, my focus a little bit changed.
Where would you like to fight in California? Like the Forum, Staples, where?
Staples is better for me, Staples, because Staples has big history too, biggest in California.
Okay, well we can't wait to see you fight here.
I hope so too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gennady, tell me how's training camp been for you? Did anything different to get ready for this fight? A lot of people think this is the biggest test of your career. Did you do anything different to get ready for this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready to my fight. Just not big different. Just I did just not same. Just first training camp after my history for my. I'm happy I'm come back to my boxing career.
How happy are you to be fighting at Madison Square Garden, not the theater, the big arena? Has it hit you yet? Are you excited to kind of see how it's going to look in there with all the people in there?
Yeah, it's very good for me. I remember I watched a lot of fights, big fights, big arena. Madison Square Garden. I love this Madison Square Garden. It's very important for me, for my career, for my team, for everybody.